Deep, 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 deep. The stream would like to catch up. Woo! Okay, we're here. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Trails in the Sky the Third. Last time, we finished the Gold and Silver Road. There's a bit of tension between Reese and Kevin, and now Reese has temporarily left the party. And this time, we move on to Chapter 4, and hopefully we can pick up some of the last characters that we have yet to obtain. I'll be straight with you here, we're not going to be doing much with Chapter 4 today, although we will be dipping our toes into the start of it, because Obermund stuff and quartz, hooray! So this is going to be more of a video focused on the doors we've seen so far, and the ones we haven't gone into in particular. Because they provide a lot of subcontext that I think is quite important. Anyway, a couple things you want to do in the Hermit's Garden first. If you follow the pathway here all the way down back to where the library is. If you want to keep lying to yourself, Kevin, then go right ahead. If that's what makes you happy, I won't stop you. But as long as you keep doing so, I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. Damn. She's really mad at me this time. And then if you inspect the shining bookshelf here, there is a number of interesting extra books. Nothing that you particularly want to read, but you should still read through all of them just in case. Just flick through all the pages, as you will need to read through all of them for a later part of the game. But for now, unless you actually want to read them, you don't need to do all of that. And you can walk over to the fountain, drink up, and now it's time to go over Olivier and Zin. Zin will know everything he knew at the end of Sky's second chapter, including Wrath of Genbu, which you may not have gotten if you weren't playing on Nightmare or didn't grind too far. He is a bulky tank that can deal surprising amounts of damage if you build him correctly. I believe the Thunder God Kick bug was fixed in this version, so no abusing Thunder Bug Kick for you. But it is, he's still a good character outside of that, just not as good as he was in second chapter. That was his peak. And Olivier, not surprisingly, but very squishy, but very potent with arts, as he isn't limited by lines. The only required quartz he has is a Mirage slot, but even then, you can still get time, space, and Mirage value in there, which is really what you need. Zin, similar to Mueller, is quite limited in what he can do by his lines. He has only one fully open 2-line in his entire setup, and the other one is contaminated, shall we say, by Earth Quartz. If you want to build Zin to be a physical damage dealer, you have to work around these Earth slots, which is immensely difficult to do. And early on, it's quite impossible. The only way to make Zin fill both of these slots and also not use any defense quartz is by using Septium Vein and then a status quartz in the other slot, which really sucks. In short, I really do not like Zin for his setup and his crafts not really complementing his arts setup that well. It's quite unfortunate, because outside of that, he is an amazing character. His setup just sucks. Oh well. Not much more you can do about that, unfortunately. We have EP cut 3s out the wazoo, so we can pop one on him, no problem. You can also unequip everything that was on Reese, because she will not be in the party for the remainder of this chapter. Can also unequip your B team if you see fit. I definitely think you should take at least the cast 2s off of them, because they're going to be the most useful part of that setup. Joshua is also a forced party member for this chapter, so if there's anything you want to do, you're going to have to bring Joshua. Which can be a bit frustrating, but he's not a bad character, so he usually won't let you down. In Zin's single slot, I'm going to give him attack 3 to even out that defense. And then probably a haze and an action 2. Or an action 3, whatever. Cool brain, skip steps. So, Olivier's entire setup can basically be whatever you want him to be. He can do pretty much everything and anything relating to arts. For that reason, I'm going to set him up in a very particular fashion. By giving him Septium Vein, Scent, Action 3, Cast 2, EP Cut 3, Seal, and EP 3, you give him access to pretty much all of the best time arts you can get. A bunch of decent fire arts, a good AoE that's cheap in aerial, Clock Down, Orbital Down, Anti-Sept All, Phantom Pain, Clock Up EX, A-Crest, and Zodiac, which are some of the biggest and most important buffs you can give anyone. The only downside is his healing prowess will leave quite a bit to be desired. But again, that's not too bad. I'm gonna just temporarily pop action 2s onto Kevin and Joshua. I almost said Elliot. What am I doing? That's not for another couple games. Ay, 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 ay. If we give Joshua an EP3 and an EP Cut 3, he can get a Clock Up EX and Chaos Brand, which is beautiful. Gonna give him a HP 3, Shield 3, and then a Mind 3 or Freeze. Doesn't really matter which one. You just want him to have Lartira. Seeing as he is forced in party and his EP is okay. I mean, Kevin's EP is okay. Bleh. Kevin having Lartira is good. Because while Sacred Breath is nice for removing ailments, it will not be saving your ass where you need it to the most. I'm going to give Joshua an EP Cut 3 for the same reason. And then what you want to do with him from here is really up to you. Joshua is capable of making use of things like Strike fairly well because of his innate double hit functionality with Supreme Dual Strike. So I think I'm going to synthesize one of those real quick. Detection might be for the best here, I think. I'll put on Eagle Eye for safety. Wait, no, I need to use, you know what? I think we can, make it now. Yes, we can, and it is dirt cheap. I don't want to go through the hoopla of dipping in and out just to get information on or off someone, so... There we go. And a HP 3 and attack 3 should be good enough. So, as long as your equipment is decent enough, you can just warp on down to third plane and go to regroup area. Boop-a-doo boop boop. Because there is something you want to get before you start going around and retrieving stuff from the doors. Which is in that chest right behind this teleporter. And here's the entrance to the next plane. I doubt the pattern will change up now, so yeah. We won't know what kind of place it's gonna be until we step inside, though. Or what utterly bizarre fiends will be waiting for us there. I'm tingling with excitement. Let's make sure we're good to go before we keep going. Come here and grab the entrance exam results. Which is a key item. A letter to Chloe Rins informing her that she has passed the Jenish Royal Academy entrance examination. If we then check the star doors... Or... Which door is it? Moon Door 3. You need the entrance exams and Chloe in your party to access Moon Door 3. Zin is our key for Star Door 4. Joshua and Chloe are our keys for Star Door 3. Star Door 2 we can already access because that's just 100 battles. We can't do Sun Door 2 yet, but we can do Sun Door 3. First and foremost, you want to rearrange your battle setups. Like that, and then head to the teleporter. Where are we now? Nowhere I've seen before, judging from where I'm standing. Oh my! Huh, now that's what I call a fine view. Wow, well, this is a lot prettier than the last plane at least. This must be another real place that's been recreated here in Phantasma. Much like the capital was. Most likely, yeah. Just where is it, though? Somewhere in the Burl? I doubt it. It's not familiar to me at all. My best guess would be somewhere along the Crone Mountains, but the air suggests otherwise. Oh. Huh? What's the Bracer Guild's emblem doing here? It looks like this really isn't a place that exists in Liberl. As far as I'm aware, there weren't any guild facilities like this anywhere in the country. I'm not familiar with any either. Nor am I aware of there being any buildings like this in Calvard. Would you look at that? The answer was right under our noses the whole time. It was? This is Lilac Training Center. I know that name. Wasn't it the training camp Estelle went to a while back? You know, last year with Annalise. That's the one. It's a guild-owned facility located in Lamont State. I've never been there myself, though. I've only heard about it from Estelle. So, this is Lilac, huh? I've never trained there personally, but it's famous among bracers. That leaves us with yet another problem to solve. To my knowledge, Lamont State is quite the distance away from Liberl. Yeah, it is. It's farther away than both Erebonia and Calvard. But you know, I may not have a clue how a place in Lamont ended up being created here, or why. But if our enemies did it, they must have a reason for doing so. Right? I knew you'd catch on. That sounded like... We've got company, guys. It's the fairies! Huh? Here comes the trouble. I suppose beastmen would be the best term for these things. This is probably what your next destination is the Path of Beasts was referring to. Another mystery solved. Watch out, there's a lot of them, and this could get ugly. Heh, could. You're funny. So, Taunt. Zin's version of Taunt, it affects the whole enemies. All of the enemies, rather. This opens up taunt strats, just like we had in second chapter, where you could funnel enemies into only targeting Zin, lock him into a corner, and then the enemies could not do melee attacks. That is the hidden utility of it. Generally, it can be used to stop your squishies from taking a lot of heavy fire, which is quite nice. True Distend has been buffed slightly. It now does 60% instead of the 50% it did in second chapter. True Composure heals 3,100 HP and cures all ailments. So it's like a single target version of Sacred Breath. True Smite has a knockback effect on it, I believe, now. And also has a 50% confuse chance. And then Thunder God Kick will only hit each enemy once. So it's nerfed, but it is an AoE on True Distend, which is nutty damage. Just gonna go for the True Distend. Ah, Jelly comes back. Hello, Jelly. Right, werewolves. A beastman with a wolf's head attacks with its poisonous claws and charge attacks. And the were-rats. Rat-like beastman uses a poison-coated sword, drops foes into holes, and can call for aid. So these guys have essentially Pit Trap from the Bouncing Clowns and SC. Not very fun to deal with, but we probably won't have to, thank God. Gonna go for a Zodiac, right here. A cast 2 will make this pop off very fast. And then Joshua wipes the entire encounter. Whee! Slash, 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 slash. Bash. And they're all gone. Yippee! Boom, 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 boom. Excuse me, sir. I said boom. Sit down.
Savor the victory.
And off they go. Heh, fleeing to fight another day, huh? They're smart little devils. Devils do seem a lot more intelligent than your average monster. Enough to make me wonder whether these are another kind of impossible fiend like the rest. I'm with you. I can't pretend to be an expert on the monsters of Loman, but I'm pretty sure they're not this smart. It looks like this plane stands to be a real ball. Here she comes. You have done well to come this far. On this plane, there are 3 ordeals to overcome. If you overcome them all, the next path will open. Take this. It's the map, it's the map, it's the map. Be forewarned. Lord of Phantasma's goal is your... Well, convenient cut-off of the dialogue. Hurrah! Well, she sure didn't stick around too long. She's probably got so little power left now, it's difficult for her to show herself to us. So it seems. It must be a frustrating thing for her to deal with. Still, she left us with a useful gift. Yeah. Okay, it looks like the lodge in the top right is where we are now. Then there's this Balstar Channel place to the left of it. Maybe that's the ordeal she mentioned, or one of them at least. She mentioned there being 3 of them, but there's only one place that could fit that description marked on the map. I wonder where the other 2 could be. From what I can see, these 2 roads lead to them. The ones that seem to just stop all of a sudden. But this plane most likely has its own rules we'll need to follow. If we followed those roads now, there's a big chance we'd find nothing at the end of them. Unfortunately. Well, those are the cards we've been dealt. Let's just try heading over to the Balstar Channel and see what comes of it. First and foremost, the main reason for us coming here is this monument. Gives you access to Mind 4, Shield 4, Evade 4, Impede 4, Action 4, EP Cut 4, and that's pretty much it, but that's all the good stuff. EP4 is king for a little bit. Those Action 4s will come in immensely handy as well. But first, if we check out all of the rooms at the top of the lock, we get Luck. Which is a Time Quartz with 1 Earth value, 3 time, and 1 space. Not particularly good or necessary for anything, but still nice. Not nearly as useful as it was at the beginning of SC, but we'll take it. There's a Carnelia Bracelet. The Carnelia Bracelet prevents strength, defense, and arts defense down. It's basically like a Curia Bomb you can wear. Up in this room, there is a Mind 4. We disturbed Mr. Tiddle's nap. I am so sorry, sir. And in here, there's some freezing meatballs. Freezing meatballs! Just want to restore HP EP. And then we want to walk down towards Balstar Channel. It sure is dark here. Still, I guess you can't expect much in the way of light from a staircase leading to an underground waterway. From what I've heard, this used to be an old ruin until the Bracer Guild repurposed it as a training area. You might not be able to expect much light, but I would have preferred it to be a little cooler than this. My ever-so-fashionable attire is getting covered in sweat. It is pretty damn hot. That weird rumbling sound I can hear has been bugging me for a while, too. Actually, I think we're almost at the end, so maybe it'll cool down in a second. Womp womp. What in the world? Well, it's no wonder we were feeling hot. Call me an optimist, but I doubt this is how this place normally is. Let's write this one off as our enemy's work. I think that's a safe assumption to make. Which means we're really going to need to proceed cautiously. This is probably my favorite track in this whole game. Yeah. So, Balstar Channel has changed a lot from SC. It has since been flooded with lava. Woo! Yippee! Fun. We're going to dip our toes in the metaphorical water for a bit, because there is something that I really want to get before we proceed with what we're doing today. We won't be exploring the whole dungeon, but there is one or two things that we need to do first. Here are some younger versions of the nest slugs from SC, the flame snails. Mollusks that adapted to live lava-filled areas, bleh, uses fire arts, and splits when hurt. We do not have the luxury of time, unfortunately, so we are going to have to S-break to get these guys out of here. But you want to walk along this bridge. If you push to the right, you open that path. What we want to do is push it to the left. Push to the left, that path opens. And then we want to follow this pathway up here. And Olivier and Kevin should be able to damage him a fair amount. Going over Olivier's crafts real quick. Quick Draw is just a very large AoE. Happy Trigger is an AoE healing move that centers on one person. Sniper Shot is impede at pretty much the entire map's distance. And Howling Bullets 2 and Requiem Hearts are both S-crafts. Pitfall will impede arts when they're being cast, which you can exploit into your favor. Like I just did there, where if you get impeded, your art will be cast faster, I guess, because you get less delay off of the impede turn. Gonna heal Olivier, and then a Phantom Pain should end this encounter. Yep, we are A-O good. Just gonna show off Thunder God Kick here. You'll note that it does not do the double damage bug. It just hits each of them once.
Savor the victory.
Get Smelling Salts and a Purging Balm. Push that lever to the right first, and then a chest will appear down there. Then return to its original position and push left. Once we've pushed that left, want to heal up really quickly. Thankfully, Kevin has La Tira, so we can do that no problem. He says using Tira and being inefficient. Then you want to walk down to where this chest is. Mind the were-at that's in the middle of there, and you get heat-resistant boots. Didn't Sunday school teach you not to steal? I bet you're one of those kids who slept through lessons. So, in terms of equipment, the heat-resistant boots give you extra speed, but less agility, and less defense. Resists heat, cutting damage received walking on lava by 75%. Yeah, we're going to be wading through lava. How lovely. I think characters like Joshua or Olivier are great beneficiaries of the heat-resistant boots, because you want them to be moving as fast as possible, to cast arts or attack as fast as possible. And in Olivier's case, his defense doesn't matter, because he's usually in the back. And in Joshua's case, his defense doesn't matter, because everything's dead before it can kill him. For that reason, I'm going to give my first set of heat-resistant boots to Olivier. And then if we walk up to this chest, this has the item I want in it. I am content without my contents. The UF Pie cures Confuse, but most importantly, heals 8,000 HP. Big healing. Very big healing. And that's the entire reason we came down here. There is a star door you can get by trekking slightly further into the dungeon, but I personally don't see the need to do that quite yet. So if you've got that UF Pie, you can pretty safely walk out. Gonna go back to the Guild Lodge. And then we can return safely to Hermit's Garden. Want to restore your HP and EP. And now we want to replace our Action 3s with Action 4s. So on the whole of the main party, you just want to buy 4 of those. And 4 of these. Which you should have enough for, hopefully? Yeah, okay. It's really unfortunate because Olivier can't get EP4 yet, which would make him immensely broken. But we're kind of stuck at halfway at the moment, so it'll have to do. Pop the Action 4s on everybody who needs them. Bloody slots. Where is the Action 4? The Action 4, the Action 4. There it is. Yippee! I don't think we got anything else that was substantial. Nope. Other than technically Mine 4, I guess. And Impede 4 now gives you 1 Space and 1 Mirage. Which isn't amazing, but it's something. If you are just using your Wind Quartz for extra value and not using them for the actual effect, then that's a perfectly fine use of it. Personally, I'd invest in shield 4. Okay, I didn't know I only had 3 of those. If you don't care about having Zodiac on Olivier, you can also give him Mind 4, which greatly increases his damage, and gives him Latera, which is a safe bet. I think I am fine with all of this. I'm gonna dump Mind 4 on Kevin instead of Freeze. I'm gonna give Xin Poison. We want to go to equipment here. Not going to be using Tita for the rest of this chapter, so we can unequip her. Gonna unequip Julia as well. And Mueller. And give Xin the Kaleido armor. I think we're good there. So Olivier is going to get the Crimson Eye. And the Glam Choker Plus, or the Black Bangle Plus, I haven't quite decided yet. Probably going to give him the Pearl Earring, actually. Xin will be the beneficiary of the Tiger Heart. And also the... probably the Glam Choker. Just nice for him to have Arts Defense, because otherwise he is quite vulnerable to them. Give Kevin the White Bracelet Plus, because he highly values his accuracy. And then Joshua can have the Pearl Earring for that defense and agility. If you have the Sting Edges, you are pretty much as well equipped as you're going to get for the moment. You could also take the Stinger off of Josette and give it to Olivier if you're using him instead of her. Which does reduce his range, granted, but it provides a boatload of damage. I'm going to keep the Royal Spikes for the agility. Gonna swap Reese off of the Titanium Vest, pop that on Kevin. I think we're good? Yeah, okay. I don't think we've done enough fights to get that CP pool back up. Probably not. Yeah. I think it's about 10 fights, something like that. So, we want to set Mueller as our... not Mueller. Mueller? Yes, Mueller. As our backup. And we're going to go down to... Star Door 2, then Star Door 4, and then we'll move on to Sun Door 3, and probably call it there. Those who have not proven themselves in battle are not worthy of stepping inside. Should you wish to be deemed worthy, struggle through 100 battles. Only then shall the door open. Open the door? Yes, open the door. Open the door. I shall grant you a memory fragment and my blessing. Enclosed is a report on the damage dealt to the former Principality of Northumbria by the Salt Pale. Also contained within is research on the Pale itself. Holy City of Arteria, Congregation for the Sacraments. I hereby present this report to you, your holiness, ever at the side of the goddess. This report contains classified information and may only be read by those with clearance to do so. Certain sections of the utmost secrecy have also been blacked out. Progression of events after the Salt Pale's appearance. July 1st, 1178, 5:45 AM. An urgent report came in from Haliask Cathedral, in the then Principality, now Estate, of Northumbria in northern Zemuria. It stated that a giant white pillar, so tall it appears to kiss the clouds, had appeared on the outskirts of the city. Bishop Alexei, the one who sent the report, behaved as if extremely unsettled by what was happening. By urgent orders of the committee, 2 knights of the Graalsritter, the 8th Dominion, aka the Roaring Lion, and a squire, both of whom were working on another mission in a nearby nation, were dispatched to perform a formal investigation. They hurried to the scene via the 8th Merkaba unit. Please note that the Merkaba had only recently been put to use at this point. They arrived promptly, and at 6:22 AM, this is what they saw. Enclosed is a photograph of the object now known as the Salt Pale. At this point, however, it was far larger than the term pale would suggest. It was more akin to a massive tower that soared hundreds of ards into the air. The 2 knights provided the following observation regarding their situation on their arrival. We were met with a mighty hailstorm blowing in our direction from Haliask, or so it appeared to be at first, till we eventually realized the storm contained not ice, but salt. The object's surface is completely covered with salt, making it impossible to tell what it may actually look like underneath. The surrounding air has become powdered salt, and it falls to the ground like snow falling on a tundra. The spread of that solidification process was startlingly rapid, and the affected area spread in the blink of an eye. By the time the Graalsritter arrived, the entire landscape of the capital had turned to salt, and the lives of many who lived there, like the aforementioned Bishop Alexei, had already been lost. Yet the spread did not stop there. A day after the Salt Pale first appeared, a vast coniferous forest zone north of the capital crystallized and collapsed. Bridges also collapsed, rendering all of the main highways out of the city unusable. Please note that by this point, then ruler Prince Balmund had already fled the country to a nearby nation. 2 days passed since the Pale's appearance. By this point, roughly half of the entire principality had become a sea of salt. Countless refugees had fled to the southern side of the country because the River Grieve stood between it and the affected area. Finally, 3 days after the Pale's appearance, the solidnification process stopped at dawn. As a result, the knights were able to advance on the capital of Haliask with the hope of investigating the Salt Pale. That afternoon, they finally reached it, but what they found looked completely different from how the Pale had before when they first arrived in Northumbria. In the centre of the solidnified area, they found an object that was a mere 2.5 arge in height. Its surface was no longer blanketed in salt, rather it looked as if something had been carved out of it. It is now believed that the Pale's mass decreased as the solidnification process progressed. In its smaller state, the Pale had lost its power to turn swathes of the country to salt, but its ability to solidify was still very much intact. Anything that touched it, even for a millisecond, was instantaneously turned into salt. It was of the utmost importance to handle it with care. In order to complete the mission without physical contact, the Graalsritter required the use of the sacred tool Gleipnir, which was delivered to them from the high seat in Arteria. Since then, it has been kept closely sealed away, deep within the high seat in Arteria. Still, While the recovery mission was ultimately deemed a success, the damage already caused was equally vast and significant. No damage to the surrounding nations was reported, but it resulted in the destruction of 3 of the 5 administrative districts of the Principality, including its capital. Over a third of the total population, along with travellers from elsewhere, lost their lives. This is to say nothing of the emotional damage caused. Due to its sudden outbreak, the hearts of Northumbria's people were overwhelmed with fear and uncertainty. From a humanitarian and religious perspective, a swift response from the Septian Church was all but necessary. The decision was made to dispatch personnel to the region right away. And upon arrival, they set about rebuilding the damaged churches and healing both the physical and mental wounds of the people. Those who were left orphaned in the crisis were taken into gospel facilities, where they would be cared for until adulthood. The northern region of the country, which had been turned entirely into salt, was placed under the church's control, and it has been a restricted area ever since. Supplementary notes. After some time, the country's former leader, Prince Balmont, attempted to rebuild the government. But given that he had fled the country during its hour of need, caring only for himself and not his people, all the authority he once had was gone. The following year, the country's people led an armed uprising, and the Principality of Northumbria was no more. Eventually, elections were held, and the country became a democracy, thus bringing about the birth of the autonomous state we know of now. This was also when the former Principality's armed forces reformed as a vigilante corps. Given the extreme poverty of the state, however, the majority of said corps considered gathering foreign currency to be of the utmost importance. This was how the large-scale Jaeger corps known as the Northern Jaegers was first established. As far as the rest of Zemuria is concerned, that is where the tale of the Salt Pail ends. But a number of very important questions still remain unanswered. Perhaps the most obvious of these is where it came from. Despite the considerable size of the object, and that it appeared on the outskirts of a populated city, no more information is available regarding the moment it first appeared. The most popular theory is that its appearance was due to something akin to spatial dislocation, but no hard evidence exists to support this or any other theory. Of more importance, however, is its position in the teachings of the Septian Church. The Pale is clearly different in nature to artifacts, and appears to be a more fundamental manifestation of the goddess's powers of creation, committee report. With the limits of our knowledge at present, this is as far as we can get to the truth. There are some who have proposed it may be one of the Septarians, but no evidence has been found in legend or scripture to support this belief. Nevertheless, these questions and many others need answering, and a Congregation for the Sacraments continues to study the Salt Pail to this day. The most accepted proposal comes from those who believe the Salt Pail should be seen as nothing more than a gift from Adios, and they continue to consider various means for her church to make good use of it. The most realistic of these plans is using it in the manufacture of a sacred tool used for execution. Parts of the pail are cut away using high-pressure water, and then surrounded with a cylinder made from salt crystal, allowing them to be fired directly into the target without requiring the user to make direct contact. Should the bolt make successful contact with a human target, their whole body would turn to salt, killing them in mere seconds. There are no known means for reversing or stopping the process. This approach does not come without flaws. It seems unwise to be careless with an object we still do not understand the true nature of, for one thing. There are also humanitarian concerns with executing someone in this manner. Still, it does bear mentioning that should there ever be a case where a target needs to be eliminated without fail, this would be the most surefire way to carry it out. It should go without saying that research on it is intended to continue into the future. And you can see that it was signed there by Kevin on that page, which is why he ended up using it on Weissman in second chapter. And that report was written by Reese, presumably before the time she came to be Kevin's squire. Appendix regarding the aforementioned sacred tool. Trial, use begins of sacred tool, top secret work only. Permission granted to use in the execution of. Used in the execution of, fired from bowgun. Results were extremely favourable. No damage was caused to the surrounding area. The target was also successfully erased. Appendix about the target. The target was orphaned by the salt pail when it first appeared. A brief history of blank is as follows. Septine calendar 1180 joins the Septine Church. Septine calendar 1185 joins the Congregation for the Sacraments as an official. Septine calendar 1190 promoted to bishop. 1195 declared a heretic and excommunicated from the church. Received Petrify, 3,500 mirror. So, if you understood what they were putting down there, Weissman was one of the children in Northumbria that was orphaned because of the salt pail. He ended up joining the Septine Church, and then getting excommunicated for reasons, which he spoke about at the end of 2nd chapter, and then came to experiment on Joshua here, after inciting the events of the 100 Days War. And, well, he ended up eventually dying because of the same salt pail that orphaned him. Poetic, if nothing else. And this kind of closure is why I love this game. There's just so much extra lore that you wouldn't get to see or know about otherwise without the third existing. Anyway, moving on to Stardor 4 here. The man who talks with his fists is obviously Zin. And just briefly about the salt pail and what's going on in Northumbria, that is still being developed to this day by the Throughout Cold Steel and in the upcoming anime that's about to release about people from Northumbria. So the fact that stuff mentioned in the third is still relevant to canon this day is really damn impressive, considering this game came out almost 15 years ago now? 2007? 16 going on, Jesus. So yeah. In short, don't skip the third. Anyway, let's head into Stardor 4. I know it seems a bit weird to be skipping Stardor 3, but we will be going over everything to do with Chloe Stardors and Moondors very soon. We will be getting a chance to do it, just not right now. More near the end of Chapter 4, we'll loop back around to it. I shall grant to you a memory fragment of my blessing. I see. I sort of expected it would only be a matter of time before you return to the Republic. Your mind is made up then? I'm afraid so. I've made the guys over there take care of everything without me long enough. Call it an A-rank bracer's duty to his peers in society, I guess. Well, I suppose when you put it that way, I do wish you could stay here a while longer, but if that is your decision, I'll respect it. So, when are you planning on returning? Well, there is no point in lingering here any longer than I have to now that I've made up my mind to leave. So, honestly, I was thinking about tomorrow. Think I could ask you to arrange a ticket to Calvert for me? Well, certainly. You're not planning to go and visit Kilika first, though? I would have thought you'd want to. That was part of the original plan, but she wouldn't have any of it. Surprise, surprise. Her stance was, if you're going to waste time coming to see me, use it to go back to Calvert a year earlier and get some work done. Very well, then. That doesn't sound like a position you'll be able to talk her out of. It's no big deal, though. I mean, it's not like we'll never see each other again. I suppose that's very true. I'm not sure there's anything in Zemuria that could keep you two apart forever. Feels like that to me sometimes, too. Well, regardless, I won't keep you any longer. So that's one ticket to Calvert for tomorrow, coming right up. Sorry, let me just get this. Yes, this is the Grand Soul branch of the Bracer Guild. Ah, yes. Yes. He's here as we speak, actually. Zin? Something up? It's Ambassador Cochrane at the Calvardian Embassy. She'd like to invite you on a hot springs trip. What? Two days later. This place sure brings back memories. The atmosphere is so relaxing. It certainly is. Maybe because it feels so similar to our hometown. Still, Ambassador Cochrane had me going for a while. When I first heard about this whole trip, I thought it was just going to be the two of us out here. Oh my, you look almost disappointed that it isn't. I'd be happy to take my leave if I'm getting in the way of your dream date with her. I'm good, thanks. She's not someone I've ever seen as a potential partner. Besides, it's you she wants to talk to, not me. This meeting might as well not be happening if you're not here. It never takes much to put you on the defensive, does it? Is it beyond you to just play along a little? You just can't help but mess with people, can you? With you in charge of the Zeiss Guild, I'm amazed it still has any bracers left. Correction, I can't help but mess with you. I don't do this with anyone else. Would you be happy if that were true? Hell no! Ah, you've arrived. I've been waiting for you. Hey, Ambassador. And thank you for inviting us here today. Is something the matter, Zin? You seem hotly flustered. Me? I'm just fine. You're imagining things. Who could blame him, Ambassador? After all, he's a man on a hot springs trip with two beautiful women. That's hardly a recipe for a calm and composed mind, is it? Knock it off, Kilika. I suppose not. If I were a little younger, I doubt I would be able to keep my hands off him myself. Alright, I suppose that's enough joking around. We should get at dinner. Miss Mao is going to be making tonight's food herself by the sounds of it. The serious discussion can wait until after that. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Likewise. There's gonna be a new intelligence agency set up in Calvert, huh? That's right. It's to be known as the Rocksmith Agency. And as the name suggests, it's going to be an organization that answers directly to the President. Really now? I see. I presume that this is so that Parliament can't have any influence over its operations? Correct. Perhaps this new agency's biggest advantage is that it's separate from all those issues and vices. The last thing we need is an organisation like this suffering from Parliament's failures to make prompt decisions or general ineptitude. Or being run in the same opaque and shady manner by a privileged few. Well, that does sound like a good idea, I'll admit. We're never going to be able to compare to the Empire's Intelligence Division, or the Borough's old one if all Parliament's involved. Quite. It's already difficult enough to get anything done in a nation with such a lack of unity. I guess that's just the fate of countries that take in immigrants by the truckload, though. Though honestly, I think that's the thing that surprises me the most, is that President's actually being provocative for once. Proactive. He's very sexual. He's always struck me as a real conservative type, so this isn't the kind of thing I thought he'd go for. That said, given the state of the Republic right now, it's hardly surprising that he would choose to act this way. Outside the country, we've got the threat of a rapidly expanding Erebonian Empire, while within, we have terrorists and extremists. And to make matters worse, we have the enigmatic society on the loose. Evidently, something has to be done, and I think he knows that as well as anyone. Indeed. In the times ahead of us, we're going to need to be able to respond flexibly to a variety of new and unforeseen threats. Alright, I think my introduction to the matter has gone on long enough. It's about time I get to the point. Oh yeah, you've got something you need to specifically talk to Kilika about, right? So, what position in the agency are you here to offer me? What? I love a sharp mind, Kilika. Your instincts are, of course, dead on. We think your talents would make you perfectly suited to join the agency, and are eager for you to be a part of it. That's why you will be offered a position of Division Chief, should you decide to join. And that's something President Rocksmith has proposed himself. Wow. What led you being the one to bring this to Kilika anyway? A fair question, I suppose. Ordinarily, this would be a scout's work. But I've known the President on a personal level for quite some time now. So, he took it upon himself to ask me to come to you personally. That makes sense. Then what's his reason for wanting me? Surely you know without asking. Or do you want to hear it said anyway? Naturally, your masterclass Taito skills are one reason for you being selected by the President. But above all, he wants you for the exceptional analytical and information handling abilities you've shown in your position at the Guild. Those are just what the agency is going to require if it's need to succeed. Well, I can't say that doesn't all make sense to me. I'm more dumbfounded that you'd attempt to steal a capable guild member right in front of an active bracer like this. That takes some nerve. Well, I do think rather highly of you. I thought you would be able to mediate without letting such trivial matters cloud your judgment. Still, what do you think, Kilika? I'm not asking for an answer immediately, but I would like to know what's going through your mind. Well, it's certainly an interesting proposal. At the same time, I'm not sure I have any reason to accept it. But you have no reason to refuse it either. Am I right? Well... It's rare that you find it difficult to make quick judgments, but with such a big decision to make, I can't very well fault you. I won't rush you. Take a night to think long and hard about it. It was so you could do that that I booked a room here tonight. I'll ask for your answer again tomorrow. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Of course. Oh, and one more thing before I depart. If you ask me, remaining in your position as a simple guild receptionist isn't going to let you use your abilities to their fullest. Well, a pleasant night to you both. What a jerk! I think you're too overqualified for your position. Work harder and join us. Screw you, Cochrane. Screw you. Anyway. You're out rather fast. Have you finished in the bath already? Fast? Seriously? I was in there for an hour. Oh. Man, it's not often I see you looking this deep in thought. I suppose you don't. I feel like I'm one step away from making a decision, but just needed one last push to take it. Oh, right. Still, being here like this with you really takes me back. Hard to believe it's been 6 years now since Master Ryuga's passing. Sounds like you went on a hell of a journey between then and joining the guild too. You could say that. Going on a journey makes it sound like I did it deliberately. Though, in reality, it wasn't quite as organized as that. I simply drifted from place to place before ending up being drawn to one point where I settled. Much in the way that a leaf that fell from a tree ends up floating down the river. Were you able to find that answer you mentioned a while back? No, I still haven't. Still, I do feel as though I've found a conclusion of sorts. What's that supposed to mean? Say, Zin, why do you think I chose to take on a non-combat position, like guild receptionist, to begin with? Because you didn't want to follow the same path as idiots like me and Walter? I wouldn't follow us either if I were in your shoes. Not quite, although I'm not going to deny that the two of you are idiots. Hey, that was the one part I did want you to deny. I wanted to find out the meaning of the Living Fist ideology my father advocated. I still believe that being able to better oneself through combat, while your opponent does the same, is a good thing in itself. As a warrior, it's probably close to the ideal way. Still, I couldn't help but wonder why the ideology had to be based around the premise of fighting. I can certainly understand the significance of living and dying as a warrior. I can also understand how one who lived that way would have no regrets when the time came to pass away. Nothing has changed within me in that regard since the days we trained together. Yet with Father dead and Walter gone, I couldn't help but wonder. Wonder whether there was some way to make use of the Living Fist without having to fight. That was when I started roaming the continent in search of one. And as I roamed, I found myself face to face with countless conflicts and acts of violence, and I felt powerless every time I did. That was how I came to encounter LaBelle's guild. They had arrived to quell one of those conflicts. Something about their ideology, putting the safety of civilians over all else, made me feel that perhaps working under them may give me my answer. So, that was what led me to start working for the guild. But even then, I wasn't able to run away from fighting completely. The nature of humanity means that as long as we exist, conflict will never cease. Instead, what's important is not blindly preaching idealism, but preaching ideals while keeping a firm eye on the reality of how to quell conflict. Master Yuga's words have never left me. Nor have they left me. But all the same, I've been looking away from reality all this time. Come on now. You know full well that's not actually true. When he says reality, he's not saying fighting is the be-all and end-all of quelling conflict. That's not what I'm trying to say. All these years, I haven't been trying to walk on my own 2 feet. Not at all. I've just been using trying to find a new way to live by Father's Living Fist ideology as an excuse to stand still. All while indulging myself in the comfortable environment the guild gave me. In that sense, I must be the biggest failure of Father's students. I might not agree with the path Walter took, but he, like you, has chosen his own path, and started walking forward along it. You two have been facing up to the Living Fist ideal of Father's, and slowly reaching your own conclusions on it. In your own ways, you've been able to face up to reality. And I haven't. I've been standing still the whole time. That's the biggest load of crock I've ever heard. You've been walking forward just like we have. In what way? It's just the path you've been walking has been one for others rather than for yourself. That river you think you've been helplessly drifting through, you've actually been building a bridge so others can easily cross it behind you. When the road is hard, you soften the ground so your fellow guildmates have an easier trek. There's no shame in your way of the Living Fist. It's as true as mine and Walter's. You trying to comfort me? Sorry for not having a way with words. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is this, you know? As a person, you're way too strong and way too serious. And at times, it's like those two things end up restricting you and stopping you from seeing things you otherwise could. So, try and relax a little, alright? Just a little. If you do, I'll bet you'll start seeing things you couldn't see before. Say, Zin? What is it? Would you be happy if I returned to Calvert? What put that on? It doesn't matter. Just answer the question. Okay. If I had to pick, I guess I'd rather you be back home, yeah. Why do you ask? Oh, no reason. I've decided I'm going to accept the President's proposal. What? Just because of what I said? Don't misunderstand me. All I wanted was some kind of reason to bring this journey to an end, as well as a place to make better use of my skills. That was the best night's sleep I've had in some time. I hope the two of you enjoyed your stay as well. I know I did. I'm feeling very refreshed, thank you. Refreshed enough to feel ready to take on a new position in a new environment, even. Then, I would like to accept your offer. However, I have one condition for doing so. Oh? Name it. While I am willing to join the new President's new agency, I'm not willing to stop living in line with my own beliefs. As such, if I should end up feeling the slightest doubt about how the agency itself is being run, I will do everything in my power to correct it from the inside using any means at my disposal. If he still wants my membership after hearing as much, please tell him that I accept his offer. Oh, that won't be a problem at all. I think he may well be encouraging you to take the reins. I believe he chose you expecting you to fulfill that role, should it be deemed necessary. After all, you have experience in the Guild, an organization which has managed to remain neutral and independent all this time. That's no mean feat. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Also, I'll need to get things ready for my successor, so I won't be able to return to Calvert for 2 or 3 months. As such, I won't be able to start work till then. That's perfectly understandable. Well, I look forward to meeting you again in the Republic. Likewise. Something on your mind? Oh, I was just thinking about what you said back there. You said you'll need 2 or 3 months to get everything ready for your successor, right? Yes, I did. What of it? Well, I'm guessing it's pretty busy over in Calvert right now, too. It doesn't sound as though there's anything so urgent I need to be there now. So I was thinking maybe I could stay here for the next few months, while you get things sorted out before I head back. You can't be serious. There's no reason why you should stay around here in the Bow with me. Go back to Calvert. You don't have to be so cold. It's me, you know. Well, it's the truth. We'll end up spending enough time together whether we like it or not after I'm home. You don't need to go out of your way to make more now. Well... You win. There's no need to rush things. Zin? What are you standing there for? Oh. Sorry. You say that before starting to walk off on your own, though. Get a bit of backstory on Kilika there. How she came to be in the inside of LaBelle's Bracer Guild. And also where she's going now. And we get Yin Yang, which has been changed from being an Earth Quartz to a Water Quartz. And you receive 4,000 Mirror. So, Yin Yang is 5 water value, 2 space, and 2 mirage. Combines the effects of haze and heal. This is an absolutely amazing quartz in a vacuum. It's good access to the effects of haze and heal if you need it, and the values on it aren't too bad either. While I don't think it's as good as it used to be, it's still certainly a good quartz. As it gives you access to stuff like Curia on its own, which in of itself is a good enough effect. It's weird. But I don't hate it. If you're wondering why I am just poking some of the enemies out here, it's because A, Slime Lump, and B, I want to get full CP regen when we get back to base. Perfectly fine. There's a Djinn. Stab. We did get a drop out of it. Bang. Bloody hell. Boop. Okay, cool. And we get trekking gear from the big boy. Fair enough. Go back to base area. Let me do a double check. Yep, there it is. Okay. Now that that's done, you want to heal at this monument. And while I don't have time to properly get into it today, I will head over to Sundoor 3 and show off what that is, because I said I would. And far be it from me to be a liar, and a cheat, and a scoundrel. Just to still which nothing in this world can move, only then shall the door open. Open the door. And after successfully opening Danor, I shall grant to you a memory fragment and my blessing. Ah, good day to you all. This place you're about to enter is an arena where history's strongest warriors gather and eagerly await new challenges. And today you will have the opportunity to be those challenges. Do what you can to emerge victorious. I feel I must warn you, however, that this is a martial arts tournament like no other. Only the best may compete. The rules are simple. First, the 4 of you will form one team and step into the arena. There, your team will face off against 3 others, one after another, with no breaks in between. As for the rest, I am sure you'll pick it up as you go along. So, what do you say? Would you be interested in joining us? Splendid! Well then, if you don't mind following me... This splash art is amazing. All of Lavelle's finest have gathered for battle. The arena. This, like, overly done anime-style artwork is fucking hilarious. So essentially, the arena contains some of the hardest fights in the game. We won't be conquering any of them yet, but you can start them now if you'd want to. I'd recommend trying to get the normal fight out of the way before you finish Chapter 4, but if you can't do that, the next best time to do it is during Chapter 6. Obviously, no need to do it right now. So, you compete against 3 teams in 3 rounds, and you must defeat all of them to win. Losing any battles results in you losing the tournament as a whole. At the end of each round, your HP and EP will be fully restored. Your CP, however, will not. I think we'll hop into it and just show you an example. These fights are very difficult for the time you gain first access to them, so don't be surprised if you get knocked on your butt. It is now the moment you've all been waiting for. Tonight, 4 new warriors will be stepping up to the plate and challenging the normal arena. So let's get right to introducing our fierce fighters, shall we? In the blue corner, we are led by Father Kevin Graham of the Septian Church's Growls Ritter. Standing against them in the red corner, we have the mysterious Team Men in Black. Let the first round begin! Step on up and ready your weapons. Ready, fight! So, on Nightmare mode, the Men in Black have around 30k HP. The guns have around 20k. Not bad. Don't go into these fights expecting to win your first try, because they are quite difficult. You want to center your clock downs on the gunners close to the back. And also move your squishier characters away from the enemy. Because the Men in Black guns have the capability of getting spread fire and damaging multiple people at once. Didn't get the best clock down targets there, but it's no big deal. You can completely use your EP willy-nilly. No need to worry about that. It's just the CP that you might have to watch. Of course, you can take advantage of Smite to confuse enemies. Which is something that I do absolutely recommend doing. Yeah, boy! Olivia has relatively low arts delay at the moment. If you can, you want to confuse the characters that are going to get their turns sooner. So I'm going to go for the gunman over here. Confuse is a relatively simple way of getting past most of these fights without issue. At least for the start. Obviously, Zin's Smite comes in immensely handy for that purpose specifically. So I'm going to hopefully be able to smite the blade. Nice. Once the blades are dealt with, you can focus on healing your party up and just maintaining, because the blades will do most of the damage for you. We just want to take care of the guns that are in the back. If you aren't sure how to deal damage to them efficiently and effectively, Trudel Strike usually does the job. Tyrell on Kevin will put him back up to full, but I kind of want to go for damage with Olivier here. Going to Diamond Dust the two that aren't stunned. Get the freeze off. Nice. And then Kevin can heal himself up. As long as you have enough CP for one fight, you are more than prepared and equipped. Gonna want to move you up, move you over. And then the rest of these guys should go down fairly soon, so I'm going to sacrifice Arrow. Get some optimal bonuses out of that. And then I'll wait Gehenna that mob crowd. He misses, and the poison should kill him soon. Gonna lock Crest for safety here. And I think with that White Gehenna, we can kill that guy. Yep. Frozen guy doesn't matter too much. Gonna punch that one. Kill beans. Both of them get petrified because they have no resistance to it. And now there's really only one enemy left. So we can just blue impact his ass into oblivion. Or like punch the snot out of him, I don't know. And I think he's dead. Cool. It's some good levels if you want to fight these guys out now, but, you know. Let's keep up this momentum. First, allow me to introduce who will be fighting in the second round. In the blue corner, we are led by Father Kevin Graham of the Septine Church's Gralsritter. That text will change depending on who you have in the first slot of your party. Staying against them in the red corner, we have the adorable but deadly Team Creepy Sheep. Step on up and ready your weapons. Ready? Fight! So, the Creepy Sheepies. Dirty calculating sheep, beware of its sleep attacks. And sheep that wants to be happy, the only female kind of creepy sheep. And then the black sheep, dirty calculating sheep as black as its evil little soul, has a hindering attack. You want to shut down the horde behind the main creepy sheepy first. You want to target the middle group, and they'll roll forwards. And you want to center a clock down on the second set there as well. I'm going to have Olivier Lacrest, and then have Zin walk to the middle. And you can pop most of your S-crafts right there. You just have to be careful of the creepy sheepies that are special. So the pink and... Uh-oh. Okay, bad. Very bad. Yeah. This encounter can fuck you up. Like you can see here. But it happens. Anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to show off. What a shame. I was honestly expecting you might be able to put a little bit more of a fight, but alas, I was mistaken. Still, if you ever feel up for another attempt, do come back. You'll be very much welcomed. And any CP that you used when you went in will be drained when you go out. So, with that all done, that is going to be everything for this time on Trails in the Sky the 3rd. Next stream, hopefully we'll be able to start on Battlestar Channel and get the Lalok section of the game underway. Thanks for watching stream. The likes, subscriptions, and watch time are appreciated, whether you're just getting to the end of the VOD or you were here for stream. I appreciate your watch time. Hope you'll stay safe, and I should hopefully see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye for now.